Finally turn to the business of fashion. Fast fashion, as we all know, big subject of the moment. It's generated almost 2 million tons of waste last year.
Responsible for more carbon emissions than international flights and maritime shipping combined. It's one of the most used items on the planet.
The U.S. sends away more used clothing than any other country in the world.
82 pounds per person. And this number keeps growing because fast fashion is easy and cheap.
We know you have all heard the impact fast fashion has on the environment. It seems like every day a new article or journalist comes out to speak about it. But we know that you guys don't really care about that since fast fashion is only ever growing. So here's another aspect of fast fashion that hasn't really been talked about. Fast fashion negatively affects the value we put on material items. It all ties in with consumerism culture, but we'll talk more about that later. To start off, here's a compilation of interviews we conducted with friends and family showing the effect fashion has on our generation and showing that it probably impacts you too.
I'm Max. I'm a junior at Rich High School.
I'm Olivia. My name's Oksana. I'm a senior.
My name is Raina, and I'm a senior.
I'm relatively confident in my self-identity because, I grew up in a foreign country for 15 years. So I really identify with my home country and the people there and the culture there. And I also have a lot of friends that I still talk to this day. So in terms of cultural identity, I still strongly identify with my home country.
I feel very comfortable with my culture.
Pretty confident because I've lived in India for 7 years. So because of that experience, I think I've gained a bigger self of my own identity and who I am as a person.
I think I just kind of go with what I feel on the day, but with my more long-term identity, I think I still have some work to do, and I'm not really sure yet.
I think I'm decently confident.
So I've asked on some occasions, but we don't really talk. But I know some things about my family history.
Not very confident.
I think I'm not as confident as I want to be. As much as I know a lot about my family, I think there's a lot more things because my family is so big on both my mom's and dad's side that I wish I knew more about them.
Honestly, not very confident. I know barely any of my family history, and I feel there's a lot, and I really know none of it.
I think I'm decently confident because of my parents. Okay.
My great-grandmother had this, I don't really know what it is, but it's this art thing that my mom keeps in my room. I have it in my room, and it's a miniature piece of art, with a black frame and everything. So I have that as an heirloom from my great-grandmother.
I do, but it also makes me more confused about how it appeared. If something, we have a lot of Chinese myths and stuff like that.
It's not really an heirloom, but I have a bracelet that combined a necklace from my uncle and then from my mother, and they combined both the gold and made me a bracelet. So I guess that would become a family heirloom in the future.
I don't have family heirlooms, but I do have this one piece of clothing from my grandmother that my mom has, and I hope she passes down to me. I hope that's gonna be an heirloom.
The only thing that really comes to mind for me is a photo collection of that my mom has. It has a lot of my relatives in it. As I said, I don't really know a lot of them, so I kind of look at them and I don't know who any of the people are, but I feel that's a way for me possibly to learn about my history for sure too.
Yes, definitely.
I think so. I think certain items, obviously, if you have your baby clothes or a blanket that you used to sleep with when you were a baby, that would hold a lot of memories and that would give you comfort and stuff like that. But I don't think everything would. I think some specific items that would help you, for say, remember a person would be really helpful.
I think certain clothes hold more memory. like something like a wedding dress on the day, something like my grandmother's wedding dress would hold a lot of memory for her, and maybe even for me those memories would be evocated. So
For me, it's objects hold more memories, I think, because I think they're kind of created for a certain purpose and you don't really like use them. I mean, like for most objects. So I feel like sometimes that is their purpose, is like to hold memories.
So like in Singapore we wore uniforms to school, and I had this like tie that I really liked from secondary school, because like everyone needs to have like a formal and an informal set of uniforms. So I would only wear the formal set of uniform on Mondays, but I really liked the tie and it was easy to bring over, so I brought over the tie.
Yeah, I have a lot of like Indian style clothing, like lehengas, kurtis and stuff like that, and all of these like help me remember my culture.
Not specific clothes, but like very traditional clothing does remind me of my history. Whenever I see my mom wear something like a sari, which is basically a South Asian ethnic dress, it does remind me of my roots and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, definitely, because like when I like look at the objects, I feel a connection to my family, to my past, and like it really reminds me of like of that like I should like to cherish the times that we like spent together.
Yeah, I think I get to know my family more. I think I get to know my culture even more. And when I actually like, you know, wear these different types of clothing or these heirlooms, it helps me understand who I am as a person.
Well, definitely like to some extent, because you know I did grow up in Singapore for 15 years, but like to my like Chinese like heritage, like because like my parents are Chinese, my entire family is Chinese, but I grew up and I was born in Singapore, so if I didn't have these heirlooms, I would definitely feel like I wouldn't understand my like Chinese roots better.
I think so, because part of the heirlooms is that it's just an object, and then my grandparents or someone would tell me the story. So I think if I had the opportunity to still listen to a story about my family from my grandparents or even my mother and father, I think I would still be connected with my culture.
I would be, just because my parents do instill that within me. But yeah, they do, like cultural clothing and stuff have like a really big impact on how connected I am still to my culture. So yeah, they do play a big role, to be honest.
Depends on so what I wear, I don't really care what I wear, so like
I get that it's accessible to many people since it is fast fashion and it's very cheap, but I personally do not support fast fashion.
Like clothing brands like Shein, or Temu. They use child labor, so that's basically fast fashion. And by mass producing all those clothes, I can't deny I bought from both those before, so I do know the difference between a name brand and a brand like Shein or Temu. Yeah, it does really degrade the quality.
Fast fashion industry comes in as fast as it goes out, so that's why I don't support it as much.
As you can see, fashion has a very noticeable impact on our generation. Fashion and objects hold a large part in many people's identity and connection to their culture. Despite this, most of our interviewees say they still buy from fast fashion companies despite the negative effects they've acknowledged. This is the unfortunate effect of consumerism culture.
We've got a ton of packages to open. Let's do the biggest shopping haul ever!
Consumerism culture has exploded thanks to social media platforms that constantly push us to buy more, to be more. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, in 2023, the average person buys 60% more clothing than they did 15 years ago, but keeps each item for only half as long. But behind the hauls and hashtags, it's easy to lose who we really are. When identity becomes a trend and culture turns into a costume, we start trading heritage for trends and forget the stories stitched into the clothes that actually matter. So now that you've hopefully realized that fast fashion is harmful and you're feeling a little guilty about the $4 shirt you just bought from Shein, Here are some ways you can help save our planet. First, you can try thrifting. Yeah, we know they're sketchy, but at least you can be unique at a low price while saving our planet. Next, you can try buying less and choosing better. Think to yourself, will I wear this 20 times? If the answer is no, or it's only for an Insta post, put it back. Additionally, you can even learn to repair or repurpose your old clothes. You can just sew that button, patch that rip, or turn that hoodie into a cute tote bag. If Grandma can do it, so can you. Look, you don't have to do everything at once. Start small. Because at the end of the day, it's not about saving clothes, it's about saving identity, culture, and the planet. One outfit at a time.